The Assembly will now hear an address by His Excellency Andrej Kiska, President of the Slovak Republic. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Andrej Kiska, President of the Slovak Republic, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
Thank you. Mr. President of General Assembly, distinguished guests, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It takes decades to build peace and trust, but it takes seconds, one selfish or narrow-minded decision to break them. We gather here every year to enhance what we have been building for over 70 years. An idea of world based on rules and principles of humanity, responsibility, tolerance, and peaceful coexistence, where wars and armed conflicts have no place, where disputes are solved in dialogue, and where challenges are addressed in cooperation. We are continually becoming wealthier and more advanced. With all the resources we can generate together, we may have all the means to reach even the poorest of the poor. And yet, we are more often driven by selfishness and short-term interests. Instead of enlarging freedom, cooperation, and healthy competition, we introduce restrictions and trade wars. While globalization has created unprecedented wealth, inequalities are still dividing our planet. The economic figures are positive, but they get hardly translated into improved well-being and dignity of every human being in many parts of our world. In an amazing pace, we continue developing technologies which allow us to connect, communicate, and be closer globally. But the distance between people, the gap in understanding and empathy towards other cultures are still huge. And yet, thanks to the innovation, the world has never been smaller. What happened thousands of kilometers far from us can turn into a global problem in a matter of minutes. The global problems have direct impact on our citizens. In this situation, the United Nations plays an irreplaceable role. It has enormous potential to overcome these paradoxes. Its strong principles, responsible action, and the driver for cooperation are what makes it so unique. So let me touch upon these in more details. The rules and principles and their enforcement must remain a backbone of this organization. Because today it seems that playing by the rules have become old-fashioned, as if ignoring them was a sign of strength and respect, a sign of weakness. The number of armed conflicts has increased in the recent years. Only in 2016 and 17, the number of conflicts reached the peaks of the Cold War era. The civilian casualties rise. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of innocent people directly affected by conflicts and wars. Sovereignty and territorial integrity are the DNA of stability and security, globally and regionally. But the occupation of Georgia and Ukraine and destabilization in the region are just one of many examples that the respect of rules is being replaced by ruthless power politics. The threat of nuclear weapons resonates much more often than we could have imagined in the past years. We hope that the current developments in North Korea will bring tangible results. We must make sure that agreements will be kept. And if not, we need to act with resolve. Too often we see thousands of civilians massacred by their very own regimes or in endless conflicts. As if we became immune to the breaching of the very norms of humanity and stopped counting the innocent lives in Syria, Yemen, Palestine, Myanmar, South Sudan, and elsewhere. Together, we have agreed that using the weapons of mass destruction will be unacceptable without exceptions. Any use of chemical weapons must be a red line to our tolerance, an automatic trigger for resolute action. So it is shameful to see repeated use of chemical weapons against own citizens for the sake of survival of a tyranny in Syria. Or for us, Europeans, shockingly, the attacks in Salisbury in Great Britain, with the perpetrators avoiding responsibility and shamelessly denying facts. It is our responsibility to make sure that no perpetrator will escape unpunished. We must firmly show that we do not bend our principles to aggressive politics, that we will not undermine the authority of this organization by inaction. We all have a great responsibility towards our citizens, toward international community and this planet, to lead, to stand firmly behind our values, to defend them. We must listen to our people to address their problems, but also to see far enough to inspire them, particularly vis-à-vis extremism, populism, radicalism, xenophobia or racism, propaganda, lies and twisted truths, or terrorism. Their goals are simple and yet effective: to spread fear, hatred, and doubts, to erode our beliefs and values, to undermine our unity. They provide seemingly quick and simple solutions, provoking confrontation and drawing dividing lines. It is not a surprise that they find a fertile soil everywhere we fail to deliver. People living in poverty, starving of hunger or diseases, with no access to education or health care, are one of their natural targets. And we will not win this fight if we do not offer these people and their children a hope to live a better life with dignity, free of fear of hunger or death. That's why our unity in implementing the development goals, in fighting the climate change or addressing migration is so important. We need to turn our plans and our promises into a global reality. Failing to do so only sends a signal of our weakness, leaving these people and this planet as an easy prey. Unprecedented progress in innovation and new technologies brings new challenges. I am very much concerned about the malicious activities in cyberspace. Growing manipulation in social media is undermining democracy worldwide and indoctrinating our populations. Cyberspace knows no borders. It is anonymous and provides unlimited room to strike at us. The choice of means is endless: to manipulate elections, to influence decisions, to spy on us, or sneak into our computers, networks, and everyday lives. It is as dangerous as any conventional threat. As such, it requires our utmost attention. But we don't do anything yet, or barely a little. The global companies prefer their profits to their responsibilities. So it is up to us, the states, to set new standards and, where needed, regulations. Because today we do not lead, we only follow. And the price of inaction may be soon very, very high. Too often we hear political leaders calling to fight extremism and propaganda with the same tools and rhetorics. They cannot be more wrong. The only honest answer is to support tolerance, freedom of speech, and critical thinking in our societies. The only potent defense is to reinforce our values and bring candid solutions to people's problems. Only when we deliver, our electorate may become immune to extremist ideas and propaganda. In this effort, we need to remember that free media are our allies, not enemies. They are guardians of our principles. They are often the first to spot when things go in the wrong direction. They keep those who break the rules accountable. So we should be very much worried about increased attacks on journalists, attempts to eliminate the freedom of press, and growing restrictions on civil societies. Sadly, last year, dozens of journalists were killed. Hundreds were imprisoned and thousands oppressed. The climate of hate continues to spread, portraying them as enemies of the state, as the enemies of nation or even faith. But they play a key role in our mission for a better world, and as such they must be protected. None of our countries, even the most powerful ones, is big enough to face current challenges on its own, be it migration, terrorism, climate change, or solid economic growth. While our most important duty of us, the politicians, is to serve our people, it will be only possible if we understand the value of cooperation. If we understand that if we truly want to change this world and this planet for better, we need to think of others, individuals, nations, and countries, and patiently explained this principle to our people. As Kofi Annan said, more than ever before in human history, we share a common destiny. We can master it only if we face it together. And that, my friends, is why we have the United Nations. I admit that multilateralism is not always an easy way, but is only sustainable one. The United Nations will serve its purpose as long as we, the member states, stand true to our commitments. For as long as we respect the rules and principles and will be ready to defend them. Because the noble idea and strong principles of this organization, the true values of tolerance, empathy, compassion, and solidarity are the best equipment for us to face any challenge. If we protect these values, the moral compass of humanity, then the evil of aggressive power politics, selfish nationalism, extremism, or racism shall not prevail. Dear friends, we may not know what comes tomorrow, but we may know how to respond if we let the moral compass guide us. And it is the best assurance we can have in the times of uncertainty, to protect our values. Excellencies, I wish to conclude by congratulating Madam President on her assumption of the presidency. The challenges I spoke about are not easy to tackle, but she has full confidence in the United Nations and her office that she will steer this assembly through these times with utmost dedication to fulfill our common goals. For what I also wish to proudly thank and congratulate to her predecessor, Mr. Miroslav Lajčák, for the professionalism with which he served the United Nations and its peoples. Thank you.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I should like to thank His Excellency, Mr. Andrej Kiska, the President of the Slovak Republic, for his statement. May I request representatives to remain seated while we greet the Head of State.